Good morning, everybody. It is Real Estate Talk TGIF. It is Friday, October 21st, 2022. The real estate market is just as nuts as it always was because we've had sales, we've had buyers, we've had sellers, we've had buyer markets, seller markets, all different kinds of markets. My opinion, it's a realtor market. Then again, it always is. But today in episode 228 of Real Estate Talk TGIF, we have Matthew Merenoff. Matthew is the author of a book called Short Sale Savage, which we'll talk about. And Matthew is an expert. He is an experienced in a lot of different ways expert in foreclosures, in short sales. He has been the top of his game for 17 years. And we're going to talk to Matt right after this. I can find my air. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Once again, good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale. I am Real Estate Skill Builder as well as the team leader of the Modern Agent team here in Northern New Jersey. Real Estate Skill Builder is a coaching company throughout the country, throughout North America, where we help agents acquire clients through different appointment setting processes. And today, we're going to get into Real Estate Talk TGIF episode 228 with Matt Merenoff. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, David.
How are you today? How's things? How's foreclosures and short sales?
Well, that's a loaded gun right there. Sure. It's good. You know, after the moratorium ended, things started to heat up again.
Okay, so I have one question, and we're going to get into you real completely. What does TGIF stand for?
TGIF. I don't know. Thank God for Dave Finale. I don't know.
You are so close. You are so close. We're going to give you an 85 on that one. Thank God it's finale. That's what it means. It's not. I mean, people think it's thank God it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday.
Right.
This is Real Estate Talk TGIF. 225 weeks ago, I decided to do this, and I came up with the name. And then weeks later, I realized, you know what? Those initials work. Anyway, Matt, you are the expert, in my opinion, about short sales and foreclosures. And I do have people call me from time to time, and I send them over to you.
And I appreciate that.
And you're welcome, man. I mean, look, I know about them. I know how to do them, but you know what? I'm not the expert. But before we get into that, I want to know about how you became so experienced, why you got into it, and what you've done to build your acumen for, that's a big word, right? For foreclosures and short sales. Talk to me about your story.
Well, first off, I'm going to ask you a question. I was on episode 80.
Yeah. It's
now 228. What the hell took so long?
Wow, that's really not a fair question. Next question.
I'm on next question. All right. So I got it's funny. I actually got involved in real estate as a fluke. I always wanted to be in real estate. I remember 16 years old, my cousin was dating somebody for a long time. They graduated college, and I remember seeing the sparkle and the shine off of his watch, and it was a presidential Rolex. And I said, Jesus Christ, I love that watch. And I said, what do you do? And he goes, I don't do anything. He goes, I just graduated college, but my family's in real estate. So at 16, I often wondered, do I want to be involved in real estate? So there was a long journey to get to where I needed to be to get into real estate. But it all happened because I was a train operator for New Jersey Transit, and I got very, very sick, and I had to get out of the industry. And my brother-in-law and sister-in-law owned a mortgage company, and they said, "Hey, why don't you come work for us?" So I ended up working with them for a couple of years, and it was so weird because I love talking to people. I'm very outgoing, but I'm also very shy, and I like to keep to myself. So I'm content with being on stage and talking in front of a tremendous amount of people, but I'm also content with laying or sitting on a lounge chair in my backyard on my deck and just listening to music and hanging out and relaxing by myself. But so I got into the industry, and there was an opportunity to run a for sale by owner service, and I ran it for a long time, and we were nationally ranked with the for sale by owner service, and it was amazing on how many people were trying to sell their properties for sale by owner, thinking that they were going to save money on real estate commission and or that they didn't need a real estate agent at all. So from the beginning, I kind of knew like uh, what the end game was for the homeowners. But what happened was I did this for many years, and we helped as many people as we could, and it was a lead generation machine for the mortgage company, which was great. And in helping people that were trying to sell the properties privately, they often did not succeed, but they needed to qualify these people to find out if they were eligible, and that's the right word, eligible, to go into contract because they didn't have the guidance of the real estate agents. Some failed, some succeeded, some people got jammed up. And I use these experiences and explaining to these people that, look, there's a certain amount of respect that you have to have for real estate agents. So with that, the business soared. The phone were ringing, hundreds and hundreds of phone calls every single month, um, and it generated a tremendous amount of business. But in 2004, things started to change a little bit, and I was getting called from people that introductions. Hey, you tried to help this homeowner sell their property, but ultimately they ended up going with a listing agent. I understand you did the introduction. And I said, yeah, it's true. I'm in a situation right now. I'm trying to save as much money as I can right now. Is it possible you could come to the house? I'd like to talk to you about the opportunity to sell my property privately. And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. One thing though, can you get here before my husband would get home? And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And then I would get phone calls from the male perspective, the husband or the spouse, and they would say, "Hey, can you get here before my wife would get home?" And I was like, "Listen, these people don't know what I look like. Apparently they think my voice is sexy. What's going on here?" So I would go and I would meet with these people, and it was the same story over and over again. Paying the difference of the I'm maxing out my credit cards, I'm paying the difference of what I owe on my mortgage. Um, I'm fearful that I'm going to go late on my mortgage, or they're pulling money out of their 401k, but they're not telling the retirement accounts, but they're not telling their spouses.
Right.
So I was like, something's not right here. All roads lead back to the Rolex. So now it's funny, I don't have one on right now, but um, there was a guy who I ultimately became partners with in his group. He said to me, I'd like to meet you face to face, mainly because you're pissing my partner off and you're helping these people try to market their houses privately where we're trying to get the rights to the house. Can you come and talk with us? Okay. So I went in, I sat down, I said, look, I'm just going to put it out there. You're a no nonsense guy. I am too. He goes, you're pissing off my partner, which really intrigued me. I had to get you in here to meet you. You look like an arrogant son of a bitch. I
Right.
know you have collection experience. Here's what I want you to do. I'd love for you to take my class. It's $2,000. Or you could give me that Rolex that's on your wrist. And I said, what? He goes, dude, bring me a deal in the next 30 days after you take the class, and I'll give you your money back. Or I'll give you your watch back. Well, thank God I gave him the $2,000 because I never got the $2,000 back, but I get to keep my watch.
That's good.
But he gave me a partnership. And I learned how to purchase properties with little or no money down, and we're buying the rights to these houses and the right to remarket it. But what had happened was there were so many people that were starting to be upside down. He called me into the office and said, dude, I got 9 files right here. I don't know what to do with it. I think you should do a short sale. I said, what the hell is a short sale? And he said, it's basically something that you're going to have to figure out because I don't want to do it. And he goes, and no, not even kidding around. He goes, I'm going to knight you in to initiate you as a short sale expert. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he literally had a stick in the office and he's hitting each side of my shoulder in his inductoration, and he's saying to me, and he goes, now you're a short sale expert. So that's how I started in the industry,
Wow.
completely self-taught. And I was talking to the people inside the banks, and I was getting the information for them on what I needed to do to build out a packet to be successful in doing short sales. And that's how I really broke into the industry. And then after that, about 2 years later, he calls me back in. Just so you know, nobody wanted me in the office. One, because I was loud. Two, because I was so disruptive, and everybody would break out in laughter when they're trying to make phone calls because they would hear the stuff that I would say to the bank. So I'd work from home. So he calls me in. He says, "Leave the files at home. Come in. We'll take you out to lunch." He goes, "I want you to start teaching classes on short sales. So anybody that I would say probably around 2007, 2008 in North Jersey, learned how to do short sales from me with
Right.
this education company that I was with." So now, fast forward, he wanted to take the company in a different direction. I didn't have the same vision that he did. I said, I'm out. Went on my own, did a couple of different things here and there. But primarily, what I did was I went dark and I really went behind the scenes. And I learned how to be the short sale savage. I'm getting chills right now. And because of that, I was able to figure out how to jam a square peg into a round hole successfully. I emerged back in the industry about 2013, about 2013 or so, 2014, after being behind the iron curtain, as they call it.
Right.
And I was really on top of my game because of the years and years of experience of learning from the asset managers,
Right.
the processors, the negotiators, and understanding and talking to the investor side of it, really how short sales work. So I started a company called Real Estate Recovery Group, and I spell real estate as the two words, as the one word, and the company is Real Estate Recovery Group, which is RRG. And the reason why I said RRG was my company's built after rules, regulations, and guidelines. And because of that, I've been really successful. 2015, I took my concept of my company nationwide to help other people across the United States that either didn't want to get involved in short sales, didn't know what to do, had miserable time, failure after failure after failure. I knew what to do. So I took, my common sense, my information, all my energy into helping other people be successful in short sales, and had a processing company. And I set my company up as a loss mitigation company so people could successfully get through a transaction. And to today, we're at a 96% success rate in getting short sales approved. That does not mean that every short sale closes, but we have a high success rate. And the reason why is because we're using the rules regulations against the banks in a nice way. And that really sums up how I found a backdoor way to get into real estate, and had a great time with it.
So when you say you use the rules and regulations against the banks, I want everybody to be clear that it's just like the tax code, right? If you use the tax code properly, you won't pay taxes, and that's legal. And that's
Right.
exactly what you're talking about. Do use it in the nice way.
100%.
So all right. So you've done you've gone from here to there and back again with everything you've done with short sales and foreclosures and stuff.
Yeah.
And give me there's a lot of people out there still today that are in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? They know they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And they've either been able to hold things off and then they get to a point of no return. I'm going to start it right there, even though it's a crazy place to start. How do you help them, or can you?
So the answer is yes, yes, and yes. The option should the objective is to avoid foreclosure. Foreclosure should never be an option. So what we're offering is an opportunity for people to explore their options. And when I say that, not everybody gets to keep their house. Not everybody has the right to keep their house. Not everybody should be in that house because they probably should never have been in that loan that they got into in the first place. So we explore every option possible if they want to do it. Normally, by the time people get to me, they don't want to do a restructuring of the loan, which is a modification.
Right.
They don't want to try to settle their mortgage with the
Right.
bank, which we've
Right.
done. They
Right.
don't want to do necessarily foreclosure prevention at that point.
Right.
They just want to get rid of the house. And by that point, because of my partnerships with real estate agents across the United States, they bring me in to talk to these people. And all the agents know that I'm going to speak to them like they want to be spoken to. I'm that cousin, the long lost cousin that has a big mouth that's going to tell these people what they don't want to hear. Because all the agent cares about is, I got to get the listing. I got to get my numbers up. I'm a listing agent. Or, I want to be a listing agent. And they have that thing called, which my good friend, which Jen Romero, says, commission breath. Now,
Yes.
now, I heard something many, many years ago from a very smart guy. I don't know if you know him or not. Everybody goes on a listing presentation, but what they should be doing, and I'm going to give them credit, you should be going on a listening presentation. And
You've gotten that from me. I don't know.
Dave, I got that from you. I give credit where credit is due. Nobody listens. It's the art of listening. And that's why I'm successful. Now, when you talk about success, I tell people all the time, put me in the hot seat. I'm an 85% close ratio in the first 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes of dealing with somebody on the phone. Well, what's success? What is it? Why? And it's so high that if I talk with 10 people, I'm getting probably eight and a half to 9 people that are going to say, Matt, what do I do next? Agents are flabbergasted because we didn't learn this in real estate school. How did that happen that you turn that into a listing for me? I don't have to do a listing presentation? No. You need to go over there and show them what that house is worth.
Right.
And let's figure out if it's actually a short sale.
Right.
And I do it successfully because I listen and I understand what people are going through. My family, my wife, her family lost their house foreclosure when she was at college. Imagine getting a phone call at 2:30 in the morning from your mother. You knew that your mom and your dad had been separated more times than you care to remember. But this time it was different. Your father and I are definitely getting a divorce. Your dog is dead. And next Thursday, the house is going to public auction. They lived in Connecticut. Totally different than other states. They do public auctioning on the front lawn. So people were going through their house, going through their bedrooms as the mother and her brothers were in the house. Devastating. So I use that to my advantage. People will also know, and this is something that I did for myself because I needed to feel the pain. My wife thought I was insane. I drove our own house into foreclosure.
Wow.
I literally drove my own house into foreclosure because I wanted to find out. I wanted to see what the loopholes were. I wanted to see what were the issues that were involved in the process that should have been filed, could have been filed to avoid the actual foreclosure or the actual judgment being pushed against you. And I ran it so far that my wife was almost getting an ulcer. She said, I can't handle it anymore. She goes, you got to pay the mortgage. It was a very painful check to cut, David. I had to cut a check for $187,000 to the mortgage company to bring my mortgage current. But I did it, and I learned a lot in that lesson. Nobody's willing to, I mean, everybody talks a big game, but how many people are willing to put their balls on the table on a chopping block and do it to help other people? I did it.
This is not something that's recommended for anybody to do just to see what it's like. This is not like bungee jumping.
Kids, don't try this at home. Professionals, don't try this at home.
Right.
But I learned a lot along the way. And not that I want to promote it, but, because I know people are going to call me and they're going to reach out. MatthewMerenoff.com, that's my what's it called? It's my customer relations management tool that I use. I call it a customer relations management tool. It's not a digital card. It's so much more. But if you go to that, it has all my social information on it, and it has my book on it. And the reason why I say that is because what I talk about every single day, I put in this book because so many people said to me, Matt, Can you train me? Can you educate me? How much does it cost? And the first line of defense, and I know this goes against everything that anybody's ever taught anybody, Matt, how much do you charge for training? I said, do me a favor, get my book. With shipping, it costs $24 off of Amazon. You want to spend thousands of dollars and you want to get educated with me? I love it. Let's do it. But first find out, do you want to be a short sale savage? Do you want to understand what I understand? So I have everything in here for the sellers, for the buyers, for the agents, for the attorneys, for the title companies. There's endless stories in here. There's scenarios in here. There's people that I use as my trusted confidants that are in this book for that very reason. Now, people say to me all the time, dude, you could be charging thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah, people pay that. But how many people are successful? And Dave, let's face it, we're getting to go into a very bad economy right now. So what if people can't afford that?
So Matt, just I want to hit this briefly, and we're not here to talk about the market today because we we have an idea what's going on, and just to give it a little brief discussion from my standpoint is, look, I said in the beginning, it's never a seller's market, never a buyer's market, it's always a realtor's market. So whatever the real estate agent is going to do, it's your market, you make it what it is.
Correct.
We see all the stuff that happened over the last few years since COVID, and we supposedly are coming out of that. But as we come out of that, we have a high inflationary period. Now, I've seen every market since this mid 70s. Yes, I was 2 years old back then when I was first licensed in 76, but still, I've seen every market. I've seen 18% interest rates. I've seen the late 80s, the early 90s, the late 90s, 9/11, 2005 to 2008. I've seen it all. Is there a difference, Matt, between 2005 and 8 to today?
I went out to dinner last weekend with two people that I consider to be good friends with their wives, my wife. And the conversation we had was not so much a steady economy, because I don't like to talk politics and all that nonsense.
Right, me neither.
But here's the reality. We've been in la-la land for at least 10 years, 15 years, in my opinion, because the interest rates were pushed so low.
Yep.
So we did not go into a crisis or crisis mode. I think I see a lot of creativity with the mortgage people, what they're doing now. But if you notice, they're starting to bring back some of the ARM programs.
Yep.
Very familiar smell and taste to 2005. So I'm not saying we're going to set ourselves up for failure again, because this time around, I think, and I'm hoping that, the mortgage industry, along with the government, is a little bit more smarter as far as the education rollout and the programs. But, there's always going to be those shysters. I'm never going to have to retire from the industry that I'm in, because there's always going to be people in distress.
Right. Right. It's the same with the real estate business. No matter what the interest rates are, people are going to be buying, people are going to be selling.
100%.
When we talk about the last recession, the Great Recession, right? What I see is this. I see that it took more than 30 months for us to get from one point to the other point, right? And the experts are telling us, nope, not going to have a crash, not going to have a housing recession, even though I think Forbes says look for a housing recession. You know what? The big boys and both big CoreLogic says no. Forbes says yes. They don't know what they're talking about, in my opinion. Here's the main point. It took us over 30 months to get from A to B. We're only about 7-8 months into this now.
Right.
We got another 2 years before we really feel the effect.
Correct.
Will there be that kind of an effect, in your opinion, in the trends that you're seeing on your end?
Well, let me say this. Buddy of mine's an agent in Florida, in the Miami-Dade area. And he said to me that he was having a conversation with a group of real estate agents. And they're fairly new in the industry. They're like, short sales are dead, never coming back.
Right.
And I have close personal friends and family that are like, dude, what are you going to do? There's no more short sales. First of all, I have a niche. Nobody wants to do what I do. I run into burning buildings. I got burned so many times, Dave, I fucking shaved my head bald. I was tired of my hair getting burned off the top of my head. going in to try to save people. So I said to him, let's do a search. Let's do a search in Miami now. And this was just after the forbearances and the moratorium and the deferments and everything was gone. Do a search in the area and let's see how many properties are going to sale in the next month. 157 properties were on the chopping block in a 2 or 3 month period that had no equity in it. Now, let me back up. People are like, "Oh, so many Americans have equity in their house, and it's not going to happen the same way, or they have so much projected equity and interest rates and whatever, and the banks are going to work with them." Why? What the hell does a bank give a shit about a homeowner?
They don't.
They don't care.
They've already made their money.
Correct. So, just to show proof of concept, there are people that are in trouble that when the media said, call your bank, talk to your bank, have open line of communication, they want to help. Well, let me tell you what some of the help is. I don't want call, switch, and bait. I don't want anybody driving up to my house in a black SUV, put a hood over my face, and say, hey, man, you got to stop saying this stuff on social media. But here's the reality. People went on social media and the news channels, and they want you to hear what they want you to hear. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It is what it is. But let's say you call your bank and you say to your bank, I can't pay my mortgage. Do you know that people are calling in and doing forbearances on their property on the whim, on the word that they say, okay, you can't pay your mortgage. Okay, no problem. We're going to put you in a 3-month forbearance, right? Then like, oh, we're going to put you in a 3-month forbearance. We're going to put you in a 6-month forbearance. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It was so out of control. And I said to my wife, I tell my wife on the couch, I go, this is going to suck.
Yep.
Because after 3 to 6 months or a year or whatever it was that these people were doing this, the reality was this. Not many people were offering deferments. The people that were offering deferments, the financial institutions, God bless you,
Thank you,
were the credit unions. But the big boys, they weren't offering that. So now you got a homeowner, think about it. Maybe they've already done a modification. What if they bought their house close to 100% down? Now they're upside down. Mr. Homeowner, we got you. Don't worry about it. Okay, so this is what we're going to do for you. You haven't paid your mortgage in, let's say 9 months. Don't worry. We're going to take those 9-month payments that you were probably struggling with making in the first place. We're going to take those 9 months and we're going to blend them in over the next year. So now your mortgage payment went from $2,500 a month to almost, let's say, $4,500, almost $5,000, a little over $5,000 a month. You couldn't pay that $2,500. Now they want you to pay more. Oh, you can't pay it? All right, let's look into liquidation options. Or let's say, let's see if we can put you in a loan modification. What about those people that don't qualify for modifications?
Right.
So there's so many different things that are going on. And I'm going to end this part, and I'm going to let you talk. What about the new program that I heard Bank of America came out with? 100% financing? You'll be a first-time home buyer. You don't have to bring any money to the table, but you could buy a house 100%. You're gonna sit here and tell me and watch this video in your car, laying in bed, soaking in your tub, getting out of the shower, and you're gonna call me and say, Matt, you don't think it sounds like 2005 all over again? The answer is yes, but I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be more of a controlled environment.
So let's talk about the history of how our government supports the real estate industry. In my opinion, my humble opinion, I don't believe the government of anywhere in the world, for that matter, understands that real estate makes the world go round. Disagree with me all you want. Anybody watching this or will watch it, I don't care. Real estate makes the world go round. The government didn't understand that in 05 to 08. They didn't understand what they were doing. And a few years ago, when they started giving everybody money, it was like, holy shit, what are we going to do? We got to keep things going. Let's give them money so other people can spend money. You know what? People paid down bills. They bought shit that they shouldn't really have bought. They did some improvements to their homes. And then this whole real estate nut job over the last 3 years has been caused by people being cooped up in their homes where they hated their homes, or they redid their homes, or they said, I got to get the hell out of here and get something else. And the money's there. Then we have the great government a few years ago go into this forbearance thing. Forbearance has always been around for a lot of different reasons. but the banks knew exactly what they were doing. There were some good ones. I will tell you that there were some good ones that watched what was going on with their customers, and they watched them. And I will tell you, some of them are local to the area of northern New Jersey. They did a very good job. Some did a very bad job. Some of them screwed their people. Don't worry about it. Just keep it in forbearance. Keep it in forbearance. Now what we've got is a real estate market that gets hit with all this appreciation. The appreciation hits. People say, well, you know what? I'm in forbearance. Let me get out of forbearance and try to cash in on selling my home. As they cash in, guess what happens? Real estate market changes a bit, right? There's people that I'm talking to for sale by owners and expired listings. Every day we do appointment setting in our workspace with all the agents that work with me. And what we're finding out is people are trying to get in at the last minute of this spike in the real estate business. And what we're finding is that a bunch of these people really are in trouble, but they don't want to admit it. So here we are. I believe that we're not going to see a big problem with appreciation or depreciation in the numbers. But what we're going to see is, as you said, more people in trouble because of forbearance, because of refis over the past 3 years, because people took money out. If they weren't getting money from the government, they took money out. Now, how do people save themselves? Three things I want to talk about. How do people save themselves if it was forbearance or refi? And I want to get into short sale salvage. So there, I've had my little soliloquy there.
So what's your first question?
First question is, how do we help people that are stuck with a forbearance? Now they're in trouble or could be in trouble if they actually wanted to sell their house.
Well, this is what I want people to listen to, and I want them to listen to this very carefully. So I don't know if you want to mark this at 32 minutes and 4 seconds. Here's the deal. If you were in a forbearance and you thought that it was the right thing to do and call up and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to be in the forbearance anymore. I'm going to start making my payments. You literally screwed yourself. Because when you called off the forbearance, what they did was they went back to the credit bureaus and said, no, take the forbearance off. The homeowners didn't want to be in the forbearance. You know what that means? If you had 6 mortgage payments late during that forbearance time, they marked it on your credit report. What you should have did was stayed in the forbearance, and you could have made payments. You could have made extra payments. You could have made less payments during that time frame. So let's say your mortgage was $3,000 a month and you're in that forbearance, you could pay $1,000 towards your forbearance.
I know some banks that people actually tried to do that, and the bank sent them their checks back.
What, during the forbearance?
Yep.
I don't know any bank that was not allowing them to make partial payments towards their mortgage payments. If they wanted to make money towards paying their mortgage, they could do it during the forbearance. But it's funny that you're saying that they gave the money back. But the reality is, if you had that money and you could start paying it, why the hell would you think that it would be right to contact your bank and say, hey, I don't want to be in the forbearance anymore? And they didn't have to tell you. By doing that, you're pulling it off the table. Now they went back and said, hey, they haven't paid their mortgage in 6 months.
Right.
That's a true story.
Yeah, I've seen that. Right.
That's scary. So when someone says to me, well, why should I work at Real Estate Recovery Group? Because, my bank says if I'm in trouble, I should be leery of third-party companies. Well, first of all, I know you don't want to hear this, but your bank doesn't give a shit. Your bank is there to say, hey, we tried to do a loan mod. We tried the forbearance. We tried to do a short sale, but you failed. I hear all the time. I've seen people fail loan modifications for like 9 cents. All they had to do was move over 9 cents, and the people would have been able to qualify for a loan modification. Wow. So I'd say be leery, not so much of the bank, but their responsibility to help you as the bank, because they process. They're not going to give you the additional information that you need. And if you think that's true, God help you, because you will go down like the fucking Titanic.
So talk to me about how the short sale salvage is going to help all these people over the next few years?
So my philosophy is this: let's digest together what the scenario is, or what the
Yep.
possible scenario could
Great.
be.
Great.
I closed on a transaction with a real estate agent. Uh, it was teetering on being a short sale, but there was equity in the house,
Right.
little equity in the house, but it was almost a short sale. So what I did was I had an addendum signed by the seller saying, "Hey, look, no, my company doesn't charge any fee for the services to the seller. It's the buyer that pays my company for fee for services rendered. But in your scenario, if you have equity in your house, you have to pay fee for services." And the homeowner said, "Yeah, that's fine." The homeowner didn't think they were going to get any money. The homeowner walked away, I think, with 9,000 and change when everything was said and done. She was blown away. She was prepared to let the house go to foreclosure. Now, if
Right.
somebody says, "Man, I think you're full of shit. I think you're a storyteller. You're in la la land," I say, "Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to take me out to lunch. I'm going to bring all the documentation, closing, and all the information regarding anything that we did regarding that file. And you're going to bring me a Rolex of my choice to that meeting. And I'm going to prove everything, because that's going to be the most expensive lesson you've ever learned." I'm tired of people thinking that when somebody has an idea or a concept, that they're scamming people. That's one of the biggest issues I have. If you're a successful real estate agent, you're doing something wrong. If you're a successful attorney, you're doing something wrong. If you're a successful car salesman, which incidentally have a really bad rap as being the sleaziest people on earth, and you're making a shitload of money, you're a sleazy person. Why can't Real Estate Recovery Group have a concept of understanding the rules, regulations, and guidelines and helping people that are in trouble? So me helping people is educating homeowners that are in trouble. I have agents that call me up and say, "I saw you on social media. So and so used you. Blah blah blah. Here's a scenario." Laughingly, you always say, "Put me in a hot seat." I'm going to put you in a hot seat. No problem. I talked to a guy yesterday. No, 2 days ago. This agent got the deal. He called me yesterday. He goes, "Bro, everything you say, 100%." This guy went up against eight. There was builders and real estate agents, David. Agents and builders that went to go see this house. They all said the same thing to the homeowner. You ready? This looks like a short sale. We don't get involved in it. Short sales never work. They're a waste of time. Nothing's ever going to happen with it. You know why this guy made it work? God's honest. Because what he did was totally polar opposite than everybody else. Looks like your house is underwater. I'd like to do an introduction with Matt Merenoff, Real Estate Recovery Group. He knows what he's doing. At least hear what he has to say. Hangs
Right.
up, talks to the agent. "I was supposed to go. I couldn't go yesterday. Whatever. Went, blah, blah, blah." Guy goes, "Whatever you got to do, send me the paperwork. I'll sign whatever you want." Why did he get it? Because everybody else is saying, "Can't help you. Don't know what to do. Waste of time. Waste of money. Waste of space. Whatever it is. Let the house go to foreclosure. I'll pick it up at sheriff's sale." It's okay to be lazy, but not when somebody's in trouble and they're selling their house and they got to sell
Right.
their house.
Right.
So the scenarios like that go on and on. There's a listing that my wife is getting in Saddle River, and I know these agents that went into that house. I know these people that knocked on that door. I got introduced through a warm lead from somebody who's a neighbor and said, "Hey, maybe you should talk to this guy, Matt." And he's on social media and whatever. The guy checked me out, came in, talked, whatever. He said, "Matt, out of 19 people, you are the 19th person to come in my house and talk to me. You're the only person who talked to me like I'm your equal. Everybody else looked at me and said, basically, you're a fuck up, you screwed up, you're in a situation, whatever, like I'm a loser. But you're looking at me like you want to actually help. So here's what I want you to do, Matt. I want you to direct me and who I should use as a real estate agent that's caring and will be willing to help me get out of the situation that I'm in." And only because I know how my wife handles the distress side of it, because of her background working with Chase, bank for so many years. I said, this is a no-brainer.
Right.
Loves her, loves me. We're going to help this guy get out of the situation he's in. By the way, guy's got over $1 million in liens on his house. So it's not actually your typical short sale.
Right.
So I say to people, guys, you watch this video you want. Honestly, you can go buy my book. I put it all out there on why I'm successful and what I do. But 99%, Dave, 99% of people they're just not going to do it. They're all looking for the hanging fruit. Now, Dave, you were a broker for many years.
Yep.
You still have your broker's license. You're a
Of
broker.
course I do.
100%. Yes or no? And I'm going to shut up. And if, God forbid, we lose power and this thing all goes down, if you are with a company right now and your broker tells you to stay away from distressed real estate and tells you to stay away from short sales, get out. Run. Don't say anything. Pick up, clean up your desk, and contact somebody like Dave. Because at the end of the day,
100%.
if your broker is not willing to help you in bad times, and guys, I will tell you this, there are so many people that are going to need help from agents that really, truly want to help and understand what are the characteristics of somebody that's in distress. Dave is a perfect example. He works with everybody. It doesn't matter. All walks of life. And this isn't a promotion for Dave. This is me just saying, hey, guys, I know Dave for many years. I know what he stands for. I know what he does. But at the end of the day, it's so important to talk to these homeowners like you want to be talked to. And my clients become my family. And I talk about that in my book because you don't want to let your family down. And some of my clients, I yell at them like they're family members and they laugh. And I go, do you want to go into foreclosure? No, I don't want to go into foreclosure. It's not really for everybody. So if you want to hang out with the broker that wants to have it, so you're picking the low-hanging fruit, stay with the other people. But if you want to really dig in deep and really jump into a foxhole, you want to be with somebody like David or Mark or whatever it is, or anybody out there that stinks outside the box. Stay away from brokers that tell you to stay away from people that are in distress.
See the difference really is that the ones that don't want to be involved in this type of business are ones that say, you know what, that's too much work. They want the easy way out. And okay, so here's the other difference. The ones that don't want to do it use a word all the time, and that word is I. The ones that want to help, they use the word you. And what I mean by that is, let me show you how I don't want to work with you. The other way is, the only thing that's important is you and your home. It's the only thing that's important. And that's a simple definition of who to work with and who not to work with, right?
Yeah.
It's just, when I recruit agents, I'm not saying I can do this for and I can do that for you. Let's talk about the two things important to you and your business. That's really the only thing that's important, and how you'll be able to make more money and grow wealth for your family. Because that's really what people want. And when it comes to short sales and it comes to foreclosures, let's see how we can help your family, whatever your goal is going to be, whatever situation you're in. What's the best situation and solution for your family? Would you agree with that?
The biggest issue that I have in dealing with anybody really that's in real estate, you could be a wholesaler, you could be an investor, you could be a realtor, you could be just a scumbag, which there are plenty of.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that people just look to take, and nobody likes to give. And I think, and I on my short sale 101 group, yesterday somebody posted something, and then I had reached out to the individual. I didn't even know they purchased a book, and she basically said, like, in reading the book, I actually really got to get to know you as an individual, and she said, you're one of the good ones, and I appreciate that.
Right.
I look at it from a different perspective. The money's always going to be there. The money will follow you. So don't run from distressed real estate. Don't run from people that are in trouble. It might not be a short sale. It might be an easy fix. I am affiliated with plenty of people that if somebody needs to stop the bleeding and they have equity in their house and they're willing to be helped, I have the solution. So I tell people this, look, I might not be able to help, but maybe I could point them in the right direction. Do I make money in every transaction? Did I ever get involved in? No. Have I been in well over 2,000 distressful situations with short sales? Yes. But I've been doing this for a really long time.
Right.
Some of the stuff is not only in Jersey, it's in other parts of the United States.
Right. You're all over the place, right?
I am all over the place, mentally, physically, and everything like that, which is good because I got ADD as it is. So I'm like, on to the next topic, whatever it is. But I'm having a conversation with my wife, and she goes, "Wait, can we finish that conversation?"
Yeah, I did. Me too. I did. So I want to, but before we run out of time, I need to ask you. I want you to walk me through Short Sale Savage, the book. Walk me through that, and because that's one thing that I really wanted to talk about, because it is, I don't know, the Bible of short sales.
So the concept of the reasoning why I wrote my book was, and it was very painful for me to write, to be honest. I'm dyslexic. I was horrible in school. I was told I'll never become anything. I'll be a warehouse worker at best. School didn't know how to, I guess, educate me or train me. I learned on my own merit. As my dad said, you would run into a wall instead of trying to like rip the wall down. You went around the wall, or you went over the wall to figure out what was best for you to help you. So the book is really a guide for somebody to understand what was in my head, trapped in my head, to help people understand really what you're going to be up against with a short sale. The scenarios that we put in the book are 100% real scenarios that we ran into, all the way down to one of the stories of a lady who I thought was a nurse that worked the night shift in Vegas, that I didn't realize until later on. She had a Lamborghini that she had to take out of her name and put her in her sister's name. She ended up being a stripper. Surprise. So it's kind of like, where there's a will, there's a way to help people.
Right.
People can have amazing years and make a lot of money. Or, people look at people and be like, oh, well, he's got a Range Rover, or he's got the big boy AMG Mercedes, or he's got a Rolex on. First of all, you don't know. Maybe change the name tags on his Mercedes. Maybe it's an E something 100 and he put it AMG to make it look like it's a bigger car than it really is, right? Maybe he's wearing a knockoff Rolex. There's a million different things. So everybody tries to keep up with the Joneses. But what's important with this book, the real reason why I wrote this book is because it was the same conversations over and over again. And I felt if I put it in a book form versus just having a regular business card, say, call me, read the book, find out if you want to do business with me. Somebody read this book, called me up, who's in Hudson County, and hired me to come in for 7 hours and train their office. Now, he paid for it for his agents, but, the agents got an amazing education out of it. Now, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to educate people, but my time is valuable.
Right.
So I have people that are coming to me and say, hey, what's a chart? What's it cost for an hour conversation? What's it cost for training? So guys, buy the book. If the book helps you and you only pay $24, shame on me. Shame on me for helping you, right, and not extorting additional funds. Now, do some people read the book and say, yeah, I want to continue with the education? There's different things that I offer. I offer group training because not everybody can afford to pay for one-on-one training. I want to help, but my time is valuable too, just like everybody else. So I can't give the time that I offer for free. I love coming on podcast shows like this because I'm reaching out to a different audience. They may not call me. They might follow me on social media. They may not. They might just like get rid of me. Maybe they don't want to follow me, whatever. But really, this book was the hardest thing I ever did because I wrote it myself. I had a virtual assistant edit it. Is this book 100% perfect? No, it's not. But I didn't hire a ghostwriter. I couldn't get a ghostwriter to understand my concept of my feelings of what I wanted.
Right.
You read chapter 1 as one of my, and I'll say his name because I just had a conversation with him yesterday, Jason Pierce from Prominent Properties. That guy is a fucking savage in real estate. He goes, bro, I read chapter 1, and I met him when he first started in the industry. He goes, chapter 1 hit. He goes, I couldn't put the book down. He goes, I literally read it in one sitting. So if you went off on real and you could reach out to people like that, I've got not a million, but I've got many people that are huge supporters in what I do. I don't post every picture of everybody I meet,
Right.
like everybody does on social media,
Right.
or the fancy cars and stuff like that. That is not me. I am in the fucking trenches every day trying to help people. So if you really want to start somewhere, go to Amazon, put Short Sale Savage in. You'll see the book, or put my name in, or you could go to what I call my customer relations management tool, which is the CRM,
Right.
not a digital card, as MatthewMerenoff.com, and you'll learn. And even if you don't want to spend a dime, at least get the education to be educated and show people that you care. You can't talk to people like a dollar signs on their forehead. They're going to read into it. You're going to lose every single time. Transaction. People that are in distress is a different beast. You're showing the bank the reverse of qualifying for a mortgage.
Right. Hey Matt, this has been great, and there's never enough time. There's never enough time with great men like you, and I appreciate you. I thank you so much for coming on today. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you for your help and support?
Honestly, the best thing to do, and that's why I put it out there. Look, you could follow me on Instagram at Short Sale Savage. I know people laugh; they think it's a funny name, but it is true. Short Sale Savage. You could go to MatthewMerenoff.com. MatthewMerenoff.com has all my social information, and honestly, you call me on my cell number. I tell people all the time, call me 201-522-5949. That number is out there all the time. Is it your actual cell number? Is that your cell phone number, Matt? Is that your actual cell number? Yeah, it's my actual cell number. But yeah, I have two cell phones. So if I don't want to talk to you on 5949, then obviously for whatever reason, I might answer the phone. The phone might be off or might be on my desk, and then I go out and I grab lunch and I come back, or sometimes I have to bring both phones with me, whatever it is. But I don't mind people calling me on that phone because 5949 is always on. I'm like a doctor.
Right.
My wife, I'll lay in bed with my wife. We'll be watching a Netflix episode. It's 10:30 at night. She goes, "Really, you phone?" And I go, "Babe," I said, I'm Dr. Short Sale. So, I'm getting a phone call from California. I genuinely love what I do. And as they say, what is it? If you do what you do every day, it's not a job. It's something
right,
you do.
Right. You'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do.
Right. We could go on forever. It's always a pleasure getting on here. I don't know what the hell I waited till 228. I was on episode 80. I mean, it is what it is. Next time we go out, you're buying lunch.
No worries. I got it. Yeah. And you know what? Something else, but I got to ask you a question before we end. There's two things.
Yeah.
Matt, you know what? I ask this question every week, and I have to ask it of you. And there's a lot of ways for you to answer this. But the question is, how could Dave Finale help you grow your business?
Well, Dave, as we actually first, before we went live, we were talking about it. Introduced me to bankruptcy attorneys, divorce attorneys, real estate agents that really want to take their career to a next level.
I have ways to do that.
People that are really in trouble, find out what their options are. Sometimes people don't need to sell their house. And not to harp on it, but in the book, it's kind of like, do you want to sell? Do you need to sell? What is the time frame to get out of the house? So I tell people all the time, look, a phone call is nothing now. It's not like back in the day when you make a phone call and it's like 6 cents a minute or whatever it was.
Right.
I screamed at my parents when I was younger, because I'm calling people out of a certain calling area. Like, why can't you find a girl to talk to in that calling area? Why do you talk to people on Long Island or Leonia, New Jersey? We're in Upper Bergen County or whatever. So it's a free call. I mean, look, I can give you my 800 number, which is the 866-739, 3960 number. You'll talk to an operator, live operator. Don't you want to call me and talk to the Short Sale Savage direct?
I want to talk to the Short Sale Savage direct. And one last thing, man. Look, I thank you for everything. We will be getting together. We will be working together without question. But as you may remember, or you may not remember, and I know this is the reason you had to get out because you saw I had new colors, right? This is blue, not red anymore.
Yeah,
The hat's coming, man.
I love it. And you know what? I got to get that hat because, you know, now I shaved my head bald. I got to worry about the sun rays in the summer.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliver it to you rather than mail it to you, which I typically do. And we're going to get together real soon. Everybody, thank you so much, Matt, for being on. Next week, let's not miss it, because if you really want to leverage your business, this is the guy to listen to. This is a young man that helps a lot of agents leverage their lives and leverage their business by getting support and help. Justin Nelson, he's the CEO and founder of Sphere Rocket VA. He's going to be our guest next week. And of course, I want to thank Matt for being on today. Thank you so much. Give me one of those again, Matt.
Remember, it's not a no until you get a restraining order.
That's right. Thank you so much, man. Stay on for a minute. We'll finish up. Hey, everybody, we're going to see you next week. Just have a great weekend in a week, and go out and make those appointments. Do the work. Get the work done. We'll see you next week. Hey.